Huge, cool, and classic. That is the description of the il-62, the Soviet airliner born out of a tricky political situation. The West was charging ahead, and the Soviets needed something to match the new developed Boeing 707 and DC-8. However, this is the Soviet Union, and everything is rushed. So what were its problems? Was it really better than Western counterparts? And lastly, was it really the world's biggest aircraft? Well, let's have a look. The il-62's creation was a race against time and political pressures. The Soviets were falling behind in jet technology, not propellers. They were the best and the best. But this was the start of the jet age, and propellers were seen as obsolete. And we all know how much the Soviets cared about their worldwide look. So something had to be done, and the only Soviet airliner that was somewhat usable, the Tu-114, was loud, rushed development, expensive, and very complicated. And its propellers, though huge, outdated. The logical thing to do here was ask the Soviet aviation company Tupolev to make a new one, but they were bogged down with military developments and did not have the time. And so, in February 1960, Ilyushin presented a proposal for a four-engined long-range airliner, the biggest in the world. Leadership was impressed, and the green light was given. At the same time, the engine manufacturer Kuznetsov Design Bureau was instructed to develop a new jet engine. They named it the NK8 turbofan to power the new airliner, as another turboprop would create more issues than it fixed, and the race was on. And so, from 1960 to 1963, Ilyushin developed it all by hand. No digital, no nothing, it was all drawn by hand. The official requirements for the airliner were that it must carry 165 people in economy class over a distance of 4,500 kilometers, or 100 first class over 6,700 kilometers. And again, a turboprop would not solve that. To make development cheaper, they used a lot of the Tu-114 technology and put it into the 62. Development was hard, and the four-engine configuration was a massive problem. It was like, the more they developed, the heavier and complex it got. And there was another thing. The Soviets looked at the very cool British VC-10 and said, nice aircraft, just our configuration. Let's do some good old Soviet spying. And so they did. The two aircraft looked very much alike, suspiciously much alike, and some features were copied over, but actually, overall, they didn't have much in common. This is due to the way the Soviets do aviation and we do aviation here in the West. They're nothing alike. And so, after 3 years of development, on January 3rd, 1963, it took to the skies for the first time, though with temporary engines, so the aircraft was underpowered and crashed. Yeah, not good. But the program continued anyway. Even though the first flight was in 1963, there were so many problems that it was only in 1967 that the first passenger flight took place with Aeroflot and it entered service. Though not a lot of airlines used the type, and only 94 il-62s were made, vast majority to state-owned Aeroflot, and away they flew. Though there were issues we'll come to later, it was generally a pretty good jet. 6 years after the first 62 went into service, the il-62M variant entered service. This variant has quieter engines and a redesign of aerodynamics. It also had more fuel and other improvements. Now that the engineers actually had time to develop, further variants were made with the il-62MK. This is a larger variant made to accommodate 200 passengers and 6 tons more payload than the M variant. The M variant outsold the original by a long shot, with double the number built, 193 to 94. Most served all the way up until the 90s, when the better il-96 became a thing, and they were slowly phased out. But one airline still operates the type today, North Korea's Air Korea. But they don't really have any choice. They can't just buy Airbus or Boeing because it's a North Korean airline. So the jet was in service and all was good until problems started arising. The early NK-84 engine il-62s faced performance problems, including fatigue and overheating issues, contributing to false fire alarms. These challenges, combined with engine failures, led to fatal accidents involving locked Polish Airlines aircraft. The reliability of the il-62 was called into question, especially concerning engine failures. The locked accidents revealed a fatal crash rate significantly higher than the il-62 average, prompting operational changes, equipment upgrades, and enhanced maintenance procedures. Investigations into the cause of the accident uncovered issues related to the turbine disk damage and insufficient testing capabilities, since the rush against the VC-10 long-term, though testing was not possible, and some reverse engineering doesn't help. But overall, it was a genuinely safe aircraft with 12 fatal accidents, which for the time and country is pretty good. We will quickly go over its actual size. With a length of 53 meters, 174 feet 3 inches, and a height of 2.3 meters, or 40.6 feet, and a wingspan of 43.20 meters, 141.9 inches. It was huge! In fact, it was the biggest aircraft of its time. This size was needed for the long range and many passengers it needed. Over 30 countries have operated the il-62 since 1967. Although exports did not begin until the initial Aeroflot needs had been met, rapidly replacing the Tu-114s on international services, first exports were made in late 1969 to CSA Czechoslovak Airlines. The pattern was similar with the il-62M, of which the first export to Cubana was delayed until 1977. The il-62 found favor with East Germany, Czechoslovakia and Cuba, emerging as a symbol of robust Soviet aviation. Interflug, East Germany's airline, boasted 24 il-62s, spanning civilian and military use. Czech Airlines operated 21, contributing to its legacy as CSA's OK jet. Cubana had 27, a mix of leased and owned aircraft, sustaining operations until 2012. Poland had 23 il-62s and il-62Ms, underlining their widespread adoption. Remarkably, even a few Western airlines wanted them. From 1970, Air France and Japan Airlines leased a number of il-62s for long-haul services, and from 1971, KLM operated 9 il-62s. il-62M/MKs remained popular for civilian service in Russia up until the economic recession of 2008. In late 2008, Russian-operated planes were removed from scheduled passenger operations due to a severe economic crisis, affecting major operators Intervina Airlines, Davila, and Dominative Airlines. As a result, Russia became the largest operator, but it uses the il-62 for government service only. By September 2009, a total of 38 il-62s, all versions, remained in service worldwide, compared to 88 in service in 2006. Only one of these was the original series aircraft operating with the Russian Air Force, whilst other M and MK series aircraft. In 2011, Cubana retired its last civilian examples, 33 years after receiving its first il-62. Some other airlines and governments still operate small numbers of the type, and today the only place to find it is North Korea's Air Koryo. The il-62, a jet born out of a need, ending up its own product. It operated for over 30 years in aviation and had a pretty big impact on future Soviet aviation. But at long last, it got retired and not many remain today. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, see ya!